We have one budget member attending remotely, and that is Mary Sear. The Budget Committee Secretary is attending remotely as well. So any motions and seconds, the names of those people have to be stated clearly so she can hear them on the recording and not have any issues with trying to figure it out at a later date. So with that said, let's get up and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
God, indivisible, with justice and justice for all. Okay, so we already went through the members present. Sorry, a little bit out of the order there. So now we have the approval for the minutes of January 7th. Does anybody have discussion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so
Mahoney, that's Mahoney second.
Annie Collier made the motion to approve the minutes. Tammy Mahoney was the second on that. Okay.
Thank you.
So, discussion? Anything? No? Okay. I'll do the vote. We'll start off with Christine.
Aye.
Vanessa?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Annie?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Unanimous.
Mary.
Oop. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mary.
It's okay.
I think we may need to still have the members that are remote state the reason and who's in the room with them.
And for the record, yes, I am in my home in Kingston and I am by myself.
Okay. And you were a yay or nay on that?
That was a yay.
Okay. So that was unanimous. All right. So school board presentation or anything from the school
I don't
board.
have a
Make
report.
comments.
The school board hasn't met since our last budget committee meeting. I don't have a specific report.
All right.
I don't have anything new to report.
Okay. I have a request from Matt Angel that he has some changes that he's got to make to the articles. Are you ready to do that now, Matt, or do you want to do that after Tammy makes her presentation?
I can just take a few minutes and just go over it right now. The two changes are non-monetary, and all they're going to be doing is we're adding in two articles. I got to flip my computer. So basically, the two articles are going to follow the the collective bargaining agreement articles, and it's basically going to say, shall the town, if warrant number is defeated, authorize the government body to call one special meeting at its option to address the warrant article cost items only. And so basically what's going to happen is the professional staff CBA agreement, the number is going to stay the same. We're going to add a new warrant article right there. And so that's going to become 5. The administrative staff CBA will become number 6. We're going to add another warrant article after that for number 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the 2 remaining capital reserve funds are going to be 8 and 9. And that's it. And Tom has his hand raised.
Tom?
Thank you. We have always had this protection warrant article in previous warrants. Somehow it was overlooked during the process, and I just wanted to clarify that that is provided that the school board.
Can you start over?
Do you need me to start over?
Okay, Tom.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. The 2 warrant articles are typically put into our warrants to provide us an option should the community decide not to support the collective bargaining agreements. Somehow this year during the process that was overlooked, And it does require school board approval to add those 2 warrants, which will be discussed at next week's school board meeting. And we did speak to our counsel to ensure that we were following the correct legal process, and we got guidance that we're all set and that everything's okay to do.
So you got that, your numbers are changing. So
We're just adding, they're going to be adding articles.
yeah, so after Article 4, there's going to be an Article 5 from Matt. 5 goes to 6, then there's going to be another one following 6. 6 goes to 7.
Okay.
7 goes to 8. 7 goes to 9.
Hmm.
So,
Might have to remind me when we get there.
yeah,
I'm doing that part.
you don't know, you don't have the literature on those to read, do you?
No, I don't think we need that. I'm pretty sure we
We don't vote on it.
that tonight.
Neither of those articles are monetary.
Okay, sorry. I was just asking Tammy if she had the literature just to read for those added articles, and she was saying no, she doesn't have those, and that we really don't feel that we need to. Do we really feel that we need to read those out tonight from Matt, or no?
I'll let Matt comment, but my understanding is that our attorney said that we do not need to read them because they're not monetary.
That's correct. But I will read them if you want me to.
Okay, can we try that again? You got blocked out of that, Matt.
We don't need to read these tonight because they're non-monetary.
Okay,
However,
They're having issues with the volume. That's okay.
Was the bottom line, we don't need to read the warrant articles tonight? The 2 that are getting added don't need to be read out tonight because
I
they're
think he
not.
said he doesn't
they
need to
don't-
read
they're
them
not-
because there's no monetary value to them.
that's correct.
What?
However, if you want me to read them, I will.
If they don't have to be read, no, you don't have to go and read them.
Okay.
All right.
Because there's no monetary value is what Rick heard.
Mhm.
Okay.
Those 2 don't have to be read.
Okay.
But we'll still read the other ones.
Oh,
Yes.
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 Just
keep
the
the warrant.
article numbers will have changed from the PowerPoint presentation. The articles that I'm prepared are consecutive, and we're inserting a couple. So the article numbers will change on the warrant is all.
I believe that that's the next step. So, off to you,
Okay.
your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. Thank you to everyone who is attending tonight. We're going to begin our presentation with the default budget. Per New Hampshire RSA 40:13 IXB, the default budget is
Hold on,
calculated.
There we go.
What happened to our,
Nope, it was there. Not disappeared.
lost our slide. This worked in rehearsal.
All right.
Okay. We're just going to go over the default budget. So the default budget is calculated as follows. The same appropriations as contained in the operating budget, which was authorized for the previous year, is the base. And then plus or minus, it's reduced and increased by debt service, contracts, and other obligations previously incurred or mandated by law. It's reduced by one-time expenditures. It's reduced by salaries and benefits of positions that have been eliminated in the proposed budget. So this is the prior year adopted operating budget. This is the base for the default budget. From Article 3 and Article 4, the prior year adopted operating budget was $36,430,728. So this is the itemization of the costs that have been added and reduced. I'm not going to read them all unless you wish me to. But the total debt service contracts and other obligations is a negative $902,786.06. That's a reduction from our base. So you can see here that's itemized here, the prior year adopted. The number I just read, the total default budget is $35,527,941.94. Okay. You're up.
Thank you. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I will now be discussing the Budget Committee's presentation for the Sanborn Regional School District's fiscal year 2021 to 2022 budget proposal. Per the RSA 32:1, the purpose of the Budget Committee is to assist the voters in the prudent appropriation of public funds. So the budget process goes along these guidelines. The school board sets goals and priorities. The administration recommends budget to the school board. School board and budget committee ask questions. Detailed answers are provided from the administration. The school board recommends budget. Okay, the school board recommends the budget to the budget committee. The budget committee deliberates and recommends budget. This budget meets the needs for the high quality education, respects the burden on the taxpayers, and this also needs to be considered because we need to pass staff contracts. All of the board budget committee members agree on this proposed operating budget. The operating budget proposal for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 is as follows. The proposed $35,525,941.94 is the difference from the current budget of $904,786.06. It is a 2.48 reduction, a 2.48% reduction. So now that is in comparison to the default budget, which is greater, and that is $35,527,941.94. The difference between that and the current budget is $906,786.06. The proposed budget is $2,000 less than the default budget. The budget proposal funds quality education. Important budget needs to be considered in the coming years are a new math curriculum at $117,000, books for the kindergarten through 8th grade reading program at $80,000, and obviously more professional development at $50,000. The core beliefs of the foundation for improving the quality of education at Sanborn are as follows. 1, it's an aligned curriculum. 2, academic intervention. 3, implementing the best practices of teaching. 4, a culture focused on student achievement for the whole child. In 2020 to 2021, the school board set goals. The first is to establish a timeline plan and mapping for implementation of math and reading programs. 2, choose a new grade reporting system, including a new report card. 3, create a core 5-year strategic plan. An overview of the 2020 to 2022 2022 plan for reconfiguration and intervention. The reorganization savings in the elementary and middle school equate to $1,406,000. There were some new expenses incurred, $16,500 and $950,000 in interventionists, for a total of $966,500. The net savings to the taxpayers was $439,500. A summary of the major changes to the superintendent's budget, recommended budget for 2021 to 2022. District accreditation, that was a cost of $20,000. There was a reduction in fees for grounds and facilities. Health insurance went down. Transportation contract increased $20,000. And the subtotal for the changes above was a decline of, or a reduction of $256,000. Further items, paraprofessionals, there was a decrease of $184,000. Part-time speech position, $40,600. Other district supplies contracted work was $215,500. Special education social worker was an increase of $85,000. Special education speak language assistant was an increase of $58,600. Total special education changes was a reduction of $296,500. That plus the previous subtotal equates to $552,500. Lost screen. Is that the only one that we lost?
Yes.
Okay. No, not yet. This has not been finalized. Not a problem.
Hmm.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Technical difficulty.
Laura, you're still not out of the woods yet. You're still not out of the woods on this yet. You could be there for the third. You could be doing this on the third is what I'm saying. If I'm not. I don't know. I read it earlier today, and I was telling the story much more better than I am now, I feel. Okay. All right, let's go. So on with the summary major changes. We have an increase in legal costs of 20,000, athletic technical services of 14,629, increase in transportation 81,120, computer data communications 19,396, supplies 139,374, books and curriculum and library $67,610, SAU lease $20,400. Subtotal of those miscellaneous charges, which were increases, those changes $362,529, which leaves us as subtotal of $189,971 when combined with the previous page. Okay. Some more changes. We had a reduction of 6.5 school teaching positions, and that increase was created by an increase in balance in class sizes. That was a savings of $552,500. We increased the number of teachers in the middle school by 2 because we decreased the class sizes per the district policy, which was an increase of $170,000. We had a reduction in four teaching positions at Beatty School because of lower student enrollment and program changes, which led to a savings of $340,000. Subtotal of that is $722,500. And when combined with the previous slide is a savings of $912,471. So changes made by elected officials. This would consider the actions of the school board and the budget committee. We had a new math curriculum, an increase of $40,000. We made a SOROC contribution of $3,000. A addition for special ed and other professional services of $52,659, which led us to a total increase of $95,659. With that added to the previous slide, we end up with a savings of $816,812. So here we're going to discuss the staff reduction in response to the past and forecasted enrollment trends. 2016 to 2017 was we had an enrollment of 1,665 students, and the collective bargaining agreement increased $404,855. Year 2017 to 18, we had an enrollment of 1,601 students. There was a reduction in 8 teaching positions, and the collective bargaining increased $502,882. 2018-2019, student enrollment reduced to 1,598, and a decrease in 6 teaching positions. And this collective bargaining agreement increased $545,094. 2019 to 2020, again, student reduction down to 1,578 students and a reduction in 2 teaching positions. The collective bargaining agreement increased by $529,794. The year 2020 to 2021, that was when COVID really came in and hit us. We have a reduction down to 1,434 students. We had a reduction of 9 teaching positions, but we increased by 6 teacher interventionalists. And the collective bargaining agreement increased, or the collective bargaining increase was $508,964. For the year 2021 to 2022, we have an estimated enrollment of 1,550 students, and a reduction in 8.5 teaching positions. The collective bargaining agreement increase is to be determined at this time, as that's going to be voted on in the upcoming election and voting season. The year 2021 to 2022, we're going to have an estimated 1,550 students. We're expecting a reduction of 8.5 teaching positions, and the amount for the collective bargaining agreement is to be determined, as that is one of the warrant articles that get voted on. This year coming up. Yep. All staff reductions since 2017 have been handled through attrition. The four sources of attrition are: the first one is retirement, the second is early retirement, third is job changes, and four is moving. This slide here shows the unexpected funds returned to the taxpayers over the past 5 fiscal years. So 2016, 2017, $1,125,634 was returned. 2017, 2018, $1,504,483 was returned. 2018, 2019, $913,507 was returned. 2019, 2020, $2,305,355,000 was returned to the taxpayers. That is an unprecedented amount of money being returned to the taxpayers, and that increase is basically attributed to the COVID. So here we have some reserve accounts that we fund, or that we vote to fund. And we have Special Education Expendable Trust Fund. As of the 30th of November, all these totals were as of November 30th, $241,164.62. Capital Growth Improvement Fund, $223,027.65. Unanticipated education expenses, $150,193.44. Facilities use, $182,387.81. Contingency Fund, $569,245. Here we're going to address the large amount of funds brought back to the taxpayers for the fiscal year 2019 to 2020. Hopefully we never see this again because of COVID, and hopefully we get the budget flattened out for everybody. So this slide here, we are going to be stating or giving our relationship to whether it was a COVID-related incident or not, at least partially COVID-related. So unanticipated tuition, $201,126. That was not related to COVID. Unanticipated state aid, $111,543. That was not related to COVID. Unspent health insurance, $374,495. That was related to COVID, as there was a drop in the number of employees seeking doctors, anything related to their health issues, because nobody was going to the doctors at that time. Unspent services, including special ed, $654,283. Yes, we feel that was related to COVID, as the teachers, the special ed was not able to be given out. Unspent IT maintenance services, yes, $105,380. Unspent capital improvement funds, savings $258,621, and no, that was not related to COVID. Unspent transportation services, 168,291. Yes, that was related to COVID as we were not shipping students around. Unspent instructional supplies, $157,549. Yes, no kids were in the school, so the supplies were not getting consumed. Unspent energy needs, $111,450. Yes, that was related to COVID as the energy was not required for lighting, heating, cooling the school. There were several other items that came to a total of $162,417. And yes, that was also related to COVID. So there was the unexpended funds of $2,305,355 that's getting returned to the taxpayers. There's also the emergency contingency reserve of $569,245. That money is being withheld for the school district in case of any emergencies, which comes to a total of $2,874,600. Excuse me. Staff contracts are unanimously recommended by the Budget Committee and the school board. There were 3 failed contracts in the past 10 years, which added costs to the district. For the teachers, there was a loss of step increases. Replacing those teachers is at a cost of $10,000 to $15,000 in diverted resources, bringing those teachers up to speed, any new teachers up to speed. There's an impact on student learning, and there's an impact on staff morale. We have some future considerations that we need to address or at least put on the radar. In the fiscal year 2025, 2026, we will see, that will be the first time that we see the $2.5 million annual high school bond payment will not show up in the budget. It will be paid off in 2024, but it does not get reflected into any of the school fiscal year budgets until 2025, 2026. We have aging infrastructure maintenance costs that are going to have to be addressed. And we also have a Fremont contract that ends in 2026. With that, we have a possible enrollment loss of 250 students and a possible loss of tuition payments of $1.5 million annually. So Sanborn needs to balance improving student outcomes and watch costs to attract and retain students and families. This budget proposal accomplishes both for our district. Okay, so the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget funding. A large portion of the budget, 80.4% of it, is funded by the local property taxes. That is to the amount of $28,578,452.94. And then we also have estimated outside revenues of $6,947,489. Combine those two totals make up the proposed operating budget of $35,525,942. The estimated revenues, the estimated outside revenues come from tuitions, earnings on investments, food service sales, other local sources, school building aid, special education aid, child nutrition from the state, federal grant programs, child nutrition from the federal child nutrition programs, disability programs, and use of fund balance. It's important here to note that the school building aid, the amount of $491,033, that is funds from the state of New Hampshire. Here's the tax impact on a $300,000 house. The proposed operating budget, $35,525,941.94 for a $300,000 home in Kingston. You're looking at $16.89 per thousand, and that would be $5,067. For Newton, you're looking at $17.85 per thousand, which equates to $5,355. The proposed default budget for Kingston would be a $16.90 per thousand, equating to $5,070. In Newton, it's $17.86 per thousand, which equates to $5,358. Proposed operating budget. This is an operating budget driven by student enrollment trends. It provides efficient use of funds for the needs of all students. The intervention program is fully funded and it meets and needs all the requirements. It is recommended by the budget committee 8 to 0 and the school board 6 to 0, and is also recommended by the school administration. There is also a new staffing contract coming up to vote on in 2021 as well. So, for the rest of the evening, this is tonight, the voters present voiced their thoughts on the preliminary budget proposal and other warrant articles. On February 3rd, we're going to have a deliberative session, and voters present there are going to set the budget and other warrant articles to be voted on in March. March 9th, we voted the polls for budget proposal and other warrant articles. We're also going to vote for the school board and the budget committee representatives. Any questions?
You, Jim Baker, go back to the slide that shows the amount of money that was saved by the consolidation of the elementary schools and the closing of the middle school. So out of that 2.3 million that was saved or returned to the taxpayers, 439,500 that came from that, right?
That was 439,500 was returned to the taxpayers.
Right. So as a result of the reorganization.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was also, in another slide, you showed the 569,000 that was retained for emergency funds.
Yes.
In the previous year, which was also part of this 2.3 million that was returned, we withheld 460,000, something like that, instead of 569, or it was 400 something thousand. So that was also returned as part of that 2.3 million.
What slide was that?
That was in the 1920 budget. I don't think you have that number in your slide.
So this is the slide that shows what's returned to the taxpayers from 2016 to
Right. So
the latest.
in that 18-19 period, we withheld 400. Matt may have the number. Matt Angel.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 400,000 essentially evaporates at year end. It has to be reauthorized by the school board each and every year. So it gets collapsed into that $2.3 million, and then actually it was greater than that because the school board voted to remove 569,000 to reserve for next year. So I hope that answers your question.
So the 400,000 that you're making reference
Matt,
to.
do you know the exact number of that 400,000?
400,000.
Was even?
That was the exact number.
Tom?
With regard to the savings of the middle school, the savings of 439,000 was not realized in one fiscal year. It was realized over 2 fiscal years. We actually made reductions the year before and then in the previous year. So that I just didn't want there to be any confusion. Yep.
Can't hear you, Tom. Please restate.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the $439,000 from the reorganization of the district was realized in savings over 2 years. Some of the money was realized in savings in the previous year and some last year. So I just wanted to clarify that. So we reduced a couple of positions the previous year, knowing that we weren't going to fill them because we had some retirements and some movements. One in particular was the librarian at the middle school. So that $439,500 was really saved over a couple of years. And there was actually some additional funds because Mr. Stack found a place to put the library, the locker rooms that we were going to build. We were able to locate them in a different spot of the building. So we saved some money there too. It's really hard to explain. We did a great job fiscally with managing this, but every little drop of savings, it really is difficult to just say, well, this is the exact figure because we've reduced. If you look at our year-to-year budget over a 2 or 3 year period, we continue to stay flat or go down significantly. So it's all moving in the correct direction of reallocating staff and resources towards student learning. But I think it's just not necessary. That 439,500 was not saved in 1 year that clean. We actually saved a little bit more than that, but that is the correct projected number from my original presentation.
So when you add the 439,000 to the 400,000, that's 739,000 of the 2.3 million that was returned to the taxpayers. And then typically the school over the past 5 years has returned in the neighborhood of $1 million. So that's $1.7 million would be a normal return based on those numbers out of the 2.3 million.
Yeah, and then we saved roughly another 500,000 due to COVID and whatnot.
Most of it would be related to COVID, I would assume, or other savings.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We made a little more efficiency with the reorganization, but we also had significant savings due to COVID. And I believe that your numbers are generally very accurate. The way you just described that, Mr. Baker, was right.
Don? You had your hand up, right? Jim?
Jamie Fitzpatrick from Newton. I just wanted to point out one clarification, make sure that I think.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out one clarification. You had shown that the superintendent was looking for $117,000 for a math curriculum, and then later showed that we funded by changes by election officials $40,000. I just want to point out that the full $117,000 is funded in this budget because there was an error that was found of $77,000 that stayed in. So for the $117,000 that was requested or said that was needed in the future, 100% of that was funded in this budget.
Oh, so this 117,000 is now funded?
100% of that is funded in the budget, yes. So I just wanted to clarify that because part of it was already in the original budget, but there was an error. And so we kept that 77,000 in, and then we voted the 40,000 that you showed.
That's how we get that level.
That's how we got to the 117, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. That is correct.
Good evening.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Doing all
How are
right.
you, Cheryl?
Cheryl. I called you Dawn. Cheryl, I'm sorry.
Do I have to say my name?
Yes, you
For the
do.
record.
Yeah.
Cheryl Gannon from Kingston. Can I suggest you put some money in the budget for microphones and
Sorry, I couldn't
good
hear you.
computer equipment? And some paper so we could have handouts. That would be really, I'd really appreciate that. So I'm looking at slide number 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so new expenses, 16,500. Where is that from?
Mr. Angel, could you address the $16,500 in the new expenses?
I have to pull up a slide for that. Well, that was from a presentation from a while ago.
And this is from the superintendent's original presentation of the plan for the reconfiguration that was in the spring of 2019. These were the estimated budgeted amounts for the reconfiguration, and his plan that he presented to the school board in that spring of 2019 included approximately $950,000 for staffing.
Can you turn your microphone on?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
No.
Oh, my mic is on.
Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Okay. This is from the superintendent's
I can't hear you
2019,
again.
spring 2019 presentation on the reconfiguration. The proposal was to have $950,000 of the savings be spent on interventionists, and then approximately $16,500 on other things like supplies and books and things like that. It's from that presentation, and you find the details in that presentation, which is on the school website.
So these are not actual figures. This was just estimates. In
These
the
were
plan?
the estimates. That's right. These were the estimates that the superintendent made when he was looking for the reconfiguration to be approved by the school board in
so
the spring of 2019.
Do we have any actuals as to what the savings was or anticipated at the end of this school year? I know COVID just.
Cheryl, COVID has so messed up all our actuals. What?
Tom's got a comment. Tom?
I just want to be clear that I'm a little confused. The purpose of tonight is a budget hearing for the budget that we presented, not the reorganization plan. So if anyone has questions about that, just give me a call and we'll tell you what we can. But the reality is that we did save way more on the reorganization than we thought we would because of the move of the locker room. We were originally planning to build a locker room, and Mr. Stack found a way to save more money, and those savings are wrapped up in the 2.3 million that went back to taxpayers. We don't have like a dollar by dollar breakout for that. Isn't really.
Can we put money in the budget for new audio visual equipment?
Yes, I actually am going to have a meeting with Gordon on Tuesday about that. This is where, so just so everyone knows, Mr. Angel and I have to quarantine due to COVID. We were exposed at work. So this is not our choice. Can you hear that? Did everyone hear that?
We heard that.
Yep.
Okay, so this is not fun for us either, but the reorganization of the district and any savings for that, if anyone has any questions about that, you can just call me. I'll talk you through it as best we can. But the reality is that the COVID savings are intermingled with the capital savings from the reorganization, which is why $2.3 million went back to taxpayers. It was a combination of saving money in special ed, saving money on transportation from COVID, saving money on supplies, electricity, all kinds of different areas, fuel. But it also had a significant savings from the reorganization because Mr. Stack found another location for the locker room, which saved us almost $300,000. So there's a lot of different reasons why there was 2.3 million, and I'm happy to discuss that at a later time. But for timeliness, the purpose of tonight is to read the articles and go through the budget. And we're kind of off. I feel like we're off track here, but I'll defer to the chair.
This is not part of the budget. The savings is not part of the budget.
This is sorry, I have to my glasses. So this is reorganization savings was $1,406,000.
Is that reflected in the budget that was presented
This is
tonight?
talking from 2022. So at this time, 1.4 mil has been saved. 966,000 has been spent on interventionists plus some ancillary expenses that need to be collected at a later date. It gave us a savings of 439,000 from 2019 to 2020
Okay.
for the which was for the reorganization and anything from the end of the fiscal year 19 to 20.
Jim?
Yes. And
If I could add one thing to that, that was the projection. And what Mr. Ambrose has said is that it actually came in with lower costs. And all the interventionists were hired. They're currently serving as classroom teachers because of staffing shortages, not doing intervention. But the actual savings was more than the 439,000 because of Mr. Stacks finding the locker room and Matt being very careful about an awful lot of the expenses for doing the reconfiguration, even when there were some surprises in the walls.
so this 1.46 is not figured into the budget.
Oh, hold on. Let me just help here.
Go ahead, Tom.
930,000 of it is in the budget because that's the intervention program. The intervention program is fully funded in the budget. The budget over a 2-year period was reduced by more than 439,000. But the bottom line is that for the Cheryl's question is, does this impact this budget? And my answer is no. That's all in past budgets. It's all done. If you want the detail on that, I'm happy to give it to you. Come on down, give me a call. But the answer is that the intervention program is fully funded in the current budget. I feel like I'm yelling and I sound all angry and stuff because no one can hear me. So I hope everyone understands I'm just speaking up.
Yell louder.
I'll go get some headphones. Hang on.
Okay, I'll try to repeat for him. The intervention is in the budget. Okay. The savings for the middle school transition is also reflected in the budget.
So that 950,000 for the interventionists, is that what's in the budget for this year?
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
all the interventionist positions are in the budget for the current fiscal year.
Okay.
I mean, for the fiscal year being proposed.
So that, yes, this is the new expenses. That's the 950,000 being added to it.
Okay.
Check 1, 2. Can you all hear me better now?
Yes.
Tom?
I fixed my computer. Yay. I'm sorry. I had the microphone turned down. I have an organically loud voice.
Cheryl?
So what Mr. Angel said was totally correct. The academic intervention, Cheryl, is included in the budget at a cost of about $930,000. And the reductions in the budget include honestly, the savings of the 4 teachers at Bakey are part of the reorganization additional savings, because with the schools being all put together with the reduced enrollments, we were able to tighten things even further. And if anyone would like a more specific analysis of exactly what we spent and saved, we could do that for you at another time. We just don't have it prepared this evening in that manner.
Just looking for explanation of these numbers, especially when it was hard to hear and we didn't have a handout. So I'm just kind of asking for clarification.
Yep.
I'm not sure what slide this was on. Athletic, I think it was slide 10. Athletic technical Here it is.
Athletics, technical services.
And then that transportation, the additional 81,000, does that have to do with the bus contract or is that a different transportation cost?
It was an increase in special ed transportation. Matt's got that one.
So this is an increase to the bus transportation costs. We had to add in another route for busing route. So we're anticipating additional costs. We're also going out to bid. And so I'm also anticipating the bid prices to actually go up.
That 81,000, Matt, wasn't that, she was asking about the 81,000 for the transportation. Wasn't that related to special ed transportation costs? Or
I thought that one was special ed, Matt.
Can you bring up the slide so I can see it?
Yeah, I thought that had to do with the COVID. Didn't have to do with COVID and the special education. Because of COVID, we didn't transport the special education student.
No, that was okay. So I'll help with that. There were savings in special ed transportation because of COVID. But I think Cheryl's asking about an increase of 81,000. Jim, can you bring up that slide? I just need to see the.
Yeah, it's right here.
It has a plus next to it, so I'm assuming that's an increase in cost.
Different slide.
Summary of major changes.
Right.
And the only, so those are all increases, but a net decrease?
Yes, because the subtotal 362,529 is the subtotal of the items above that. And then the subtotal of changes listed, the negative 189 is the 362,529 plus, oops,
the slide before.
plus the 552,500. So the difference between, you got 552,500 is the subtotal of changes, including the prior slide on slide number 9. Then you come down to slide number 10 and you add in the 362, the increase of 362,529, and you come up with the negative 189,971 when it's combined with the previous slide's subtotal.
Okay, thank you. Slide number 12. What is SOROC?
SOROC is as it's explained to me, is an equivalent to the DARE program, which this SAU 17 does not get involved with the DARE program anymore, as that was kind of basically just done by your school. You're kind of like in one alley with the school. This SOROC organization is a statewide or regional wide student awareness program that is, reaching out across all the school districts and is more effective in that way.
So contribution, are we contributing to them or they're contributing to us?
We're contributing $3,000 to them.
Okay.
It's a great program, Cheryl.
Good.
Great for kids. I really supported that. I'm really glad the BudCom added that thing.
So Rock meant, so that was my question.
Southern Rock.
Okay. Okay, I think the contingency fund, someone asked that question. That money, the 569,000 for the contingency fund on slide 16, where did that money come from?
Can I answer that?
Was that the total amount that was put into that fund this year, or is that the balance from previous years and something put in this year?
Jim, I can answer that if you want.
Oh, go ahead, Annie.
Okay. The school board is allowed every year to retain 2.5% of the amount of taxation money.
Yep.
And that 2.5% equals that 569,000 out of the unexpended funds at year end.
So that's not the balance in the fund, or it was just funded this year? That was the total that was funded this year?
It's an amount that they can retain for 1 year for emergencies. And if it's not spent for emergencies, it needs to be returned to the taxpayers the next year. So
Okay.
this is assuming that there's not an emergency that has to be spent for. and that it will be included in the other revenues, and therefore it offsets some of the taxes.
So these other balances, was that money that was put in this year, or that's,
That's an accumulative.
all right, so the contingency fund's the only one that was money that was put in this year?
Correct. Matt, the contingency fund goes to zero every year. Is that correct? Yeah.
It has to be reauthorized every single year.
Yes.
The money was put in last year at the, at the end of the school year last year from the unexpended fund balance in June at the end of the school year.
And I'm not sure again what slide this one was on. $168,000 transportation fund savings?
That's
Oh,
slide
yeah,
17, I guess.
17. Yeah, that was unspent transportation services. That was because we weren't shipping the students around the school district due to COVID.
So a kind of an overarching question, was this budget assuming that next year, starting September, or this year, next school year, that we will be fully in school? And how was that, were there any kind of adjustments made or considered if we continue to be remote or hybrid, or it's probably a crazy question and I don't know how you could figure it out, but.
It is a target, and Tom would be the best answer for that one.
Yeah, I'm happy to help with that. That's a great question, Cheryl. Thank you so much. We did discuss at length whether or not we needed to add money for COVID contingency, such as, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just being careful. We did discuss, should we add money for a variety of things like additional protective equipment, masks, gloves, sanitizers, and things like that. But we finally came to the conclusion that, number one, we've received some funds this year from the federal government to help us. And we've worked really hard to maintain a very tight budget this year because we're really nervous about whether or not there'd be further COVID expenses. And we feel that this budget will be adequate if we do still have to need to be remote for a period of next year. We're just going to continue to be very conservative, but our feeling is that we are really optimistic that school will be normal and in person in September. But thank you for asking about that, Cheryl.
So the funds that we got from COVID, are those funds that we're anticipating, or do they have to all be spent this year, or can any of that money be retained?
No, all has to be spent right now, and it's all already spent.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's been insanely expensive.
Hold on. And did you have a comment to make about that?
I just thought this would be a perfect time to for Matt to throw in how much we did get reimbursed of our COVID expenses due to his hard work. So what's the total, Matt?
My rough number is $574,000.
And a lot of that was competitive grant money that Matt wrote for, and he did a fantastic job. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Aging infrastructure,
Yes.
slide 20.
Oops. Hold on.
Is that,
Slide 20 now. Aging infrastructure.
maybe I got the wrong one.
Future
19,
considerations.
yes,
Yep.
20.
Aging infrastructure maintenance. Yes.
Is that something in particular that we know about, or is that just kind of general, we need to keep maintaining the buildings?
Maintaining the buildings.
Isn't that part of your capital improvement, or?
Yes, it is, but it's just something that I want to throw out there because people heard that we had to replace the roof in Memorial, I think it was this year, and everybody was kind of lost about where the money's going to come from and how is it we don't have the money for this, and a lot of people sprang to the assumption that we didn't have the money for it when in fact we do have the money for it. It is in the fund for that type of situation, but this is just stuff that I wanted to say. So in 2024, we're going to make our final payment for the high school bond, which is going to free up $2.5 million. And that looks really great, that everybody's taxes are going to go down by that much collectively, right? Well, by the time,
If Fremont stays.
well, yeah, so and we're not going to see that 2.5 move or any kind of reduction in that 2.5 million until the fiscal year 25-26. But when that happens, now we're 6 years down the road, what is it that's going to be end of life cycle at that point in time? So that's what I wanted to put that out there. I mean, this is a eye-opening thing that, hey folks, we're not that far away from ending this 2.5 million payment, but there's still going to be money that has to get spent at that time. Even before then, we're going to be spending money for some reason. I just wanted to, make people aware that it's the infrastructure of this building. This is the school that we really, really need. This is the one we moved into. Everybody has to know that there's going to be money that's got to be spent on this building, so we don't end up with a building that's falling apart around our students and people getting upset about it because nobody wanted to spend the money. And when it gets to a point that, apparently it's too expensive, where I want this to be known that you're still going to be paying for windows, upgrades and heating systems, air conditioning units. If this lovely COVID thing keeps rearing its ugly head every year, how are we going to have to be dealing with that? Is there going to be some kind of air filtration system that could possibly come out to help with that? It's just something that's going to be there. But it also addressed the fact that in 2026, we could be losing enrollment of 250 students. And, so
And
then.
tuition.
Can
Yeah.
I make a comment to that?
Yes.
Just sort of as a lifelong resident of Kingston, I don't think I'm alone in this, because I know this happened at another person in town, that we think of the high school still as a new school. I know just last year I brought my son to basketball, and I realized I brought him to Swayze Gymnasium for basketball instead of here, and maybe too because my kids aren't in high school. But I think too, part of it is there's people like me who still consider this a new school. So I think for me, that being in there is, hey guys, this school is getting old. And I think that some people are maybe like, oh, it's the new school, why are we replacing XYZ? So I think that's part on me personally of why we need to point it out, that the school is it going to be 20 years old in 2024? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's I just think people think that it's new still. It's not.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's the newest of them all.
Can I say something quick about that?
Go ahead, Tom.
I just wanted to mention that was that Maura? I couldn't see. Was that Maura Bashaw?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, thank you, Maura. That was exactly the two things I want to say. The high school is 20 years old and it looks fantastic because we have amazing custodians. That doesn't mean that it's not going to need air, heat. We have problems with the water systems from time to time. We have major problems with the boilers at Bakey right now. There are airflow issues and concerns if Bakey is to stay open. Bakey is an old building, a really old building, and it needs a lot of work. So I just think that everyone needs to recognize that, yes, the bond will close for the high school, but we have two major pressing issues for us that will be a part of our strategic plan. Number one, a capital plan that addresses all the issues in the district in a timely and carefully planned out manner. Matt Angel and the facilities committee and the finance committee have been discussing that all year as part of the strategic plan development process. And the second component that is really important for everyone to remember is that we do have some of the lowest paid teachers in the area. And at some point, if we want to maintain our staff, we're going to have to not just keep the status quo, which is what the current contract proposal does. We're going to have to actually bump it up to retain and attract the best teachers. So I just want people to think of two buckets when that bond closes. Well, really three. One is if Fremont doesn't stay, they take with them $4 million a year. If the contracts eventually aren't significantly raised, we will continue to stay in the number 1 or 2 spot out of the 10 area districts. for teacher pay. And number three, we're going to eventually become overrun with capital needs. We've done a great job of making do with very little, but when this bond concludes, we need to address these things. And Maura, you're right. We think of that school as being brand new because it's beautiful, but it's like having a car that you keep a really great paint job on and you keep the interior really clean. You have to keep the motor running. You have to keep the drivetrain running. And there are issues. We've had issues with the heating and other systems at the high school already. It is 20 years old. So thank you for everyone for discussing this, because this is important. And I just always like to be honest and transparent about the future of our organization so that everyone knows what's coming down the road so that there are no surprises.
Where are we in the capital plan? I know that last year or the year before, the one that was here by the previous administration was said to be not accurate.
Yep.
We have a capital plan. If not, because I saw that was also school board goals. Do we know when we anticipate to have that capital plan completed?
Our Matt is working on it. He can answer that.
Yeah, so we have one more school to review through the facilities committee. And this is honestly the second version of the capital improvement plan that we're working on right now. So, and then this is going to lay the groundwork for the 5-year strategic plan coming up this summer.
The last, or slide 21.
Okay.
So I'm looking at Kingston because I live in Kingston.
Okay.
The minus 5,067. Are my taxes going down by that much?
No.
Gordon, can you zoom in?
It's a debt. That is a debt of $5,067.
It's a debt?
Yes, that's what your taxes would be on a $300,000 house.
Oh, okay. So, and so that's
just a dash.
minus $16.89.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that should be moved over. Well, just get rid of the colon or get rid of that negative.
The dash.
Yeah, get rid of the
Get
dash.
rid of the dash.
Mhm.
Good question.
It's kind of confusing with the dashes and the parens.
Wishful thinking.
Oh, so that's, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had it in.
I see.
That wasn't a minus sign, that was a
No, I had it in
hyphen.
there as a household.
I had, when I first looked at it, I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait, it's going down? And I had to look
No,
at that
I
twice. to get
I
that.
put it in there as a deficit, not just as a raw number that you had to pay. Sorry.
So it's on the line above that.
Yeah, the 1,500.
You can contract out for my services next year.
Okay.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay. Mr. Baker.
Jim Baker from Newton. I just wanted to, could you go back to the slide with the savings from the consolidation? I know everybody here knows this, but I just want to point out that $1,406,000 is not a one-time savings. That's an ongoing savings, because that money won't have to be spent on those facilities going forward. So that's an annual savings. And that 960 or 950,000 for interventionists is an annual investment.
Yes.
Again, it's covered by those savings rather than additional taxes. Thank you.
Anyone else? Vanessa? You look kind of curious over there. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, folks.
No.
I think
We could take it, we could take a break. Take
Yeah.
like a 10-minute,
Can
we take
you
like a
to
10-minute break.
Take a 10-minute break?
We have the rest
I
of the
think we
warrant
need to
articles to
adjourn the
review.
the public session first, right? Oh, yeah.
Sorry, what's up, Rick?
Oh, you need to adjourn. I heard, we're staying for a little bit or no?
Tammy still has to present warrant articles
Oh,
from the school
okay.
board.
Sorry, good.
No, we just keep going. How long is that gonna take?
Do you?
I
do you want-
requested a break. Could we take like a 10-minute break? And
Sure.
then we'll do the rest of the warrant articles.
Okay, we're gonna break for 10 minutes and then come back. Finish off with Tammy. Okay. So Tammy's going to go ahead and read the articles.
Okay, there are 4 additional warrant articles.
Oh, we can't hear you.
I think you're gonna have to lean in.
You get to pick it up.
Really hate these
Lean in,
microphones. Okay. This is Article 4.
No.
No,
Still can't hear you.
no, can't hear you.
I'm not gonna, there, I need. Professional staff collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta lean down then.
I'm
Project your voice.
not gonna lean down for the next hour or so. Shall the Sanborn Regional School District approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement for professional staff reached between the school board and the Sanborn Regional Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. This is a 3-year contract. Year 1, 2021 to 2022, $459,155. Year 2 is 2022 to 2023, $536,340. Year 3, 2023 through 2024, $535,804. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $459,155 for the 2021-22 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those of the appropriation at the current staffing levels. This article is recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0. It's also recommended by this Sanborn Regional School Board by a vote of 6-0. The estimated tax impact in Kingston, 30 cents per thousand, in Newton, 32 cents per thousand. This article has 2 purposes. The first is to ratify the 3-year contract negotiated between the school board and the Sanborn Regional Education Association. The second is to raise and appropriate $459,155 for fiscal year 21-22. If passed, the following 2 years will increase an estimate of $536,340 and $535,804 for fiscal years 22-23 and 23-24 respectively. The increase, as you can see on the screen, is 1.5% for fiscal year 21-22 and 2% for each fiscal year 22-23 and fiscal year 23-24. We covered the estimated tax impact, so I won't read that again. All right, this article out there, yeah. Does anyone have any comments on that?
I have one comment, which is in addition to the, I'm sorry, 1.5% and 2.5%, is that what it was?
Go back. Yep, back.
Yeah, 1.5% and 2%. They're also, the professional staff also get step and experience increases. So those are in addition.
Okay. All right, this article will be renumbered because there will be an article inserted after Article 4, which Matt can speak about. If we spoke about it at the beginning of the meeting, I believe, that will call for a special meeting in the event that Article 4 is defeated. All right, so this will be Article 6. This is the administrators' collective bargaining agreement. Shall the Sanborn Regional School District approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement for administrators reached between the school board and the Teamsters Local 633, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at current staffing levels over the amount paid in the prior fiscal year. This is a 4-year contract. Year 1, 2021 through 2022, $26,829. Year 2, 2022 to 2023, $47,811. Year 3, 2023 to 2024, $48,894. And in year 4, which is 2024 through 2025, $49,997. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,829 for the 2021-22 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those of the appropriation at the current staffing levels. This article is recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, recommended by the Sanborn Regional School Board by a vote of 6-0. The estimated tax impact in Kingston, 2 cents per thousand. Same in Newton, 2 cents per thousand. Similar to Article 4, this article has 2 purposes. The first is to ratify the 4-year contract negotiated between the school board and the Teamsters Local 633. The second is to raise and appropriate $26,829 for fiscal year 21-22. I think we covered bullet point 2. So the increase is as follows: 1.5% for fiscal year 21-22 with a 4% cap in health insurance costs. The following 3 years, 2.75% increase with a 6% cap in health insurance costs. This contract does not contain step increases. Comments or questions on this one?
Was that the same number for the tax impact as on the prior slide? It was 2 cents. So that slide needs to be corrected for the deliberative.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Matt?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the prior slide is correct. I made a mistake and didn't update it there. See, 2 cents, it should be 2 cents. The warrant article is correct. The slide that I gave Tammy, I made a mistake at the bottom.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no comments on this article, we will move on. This is going to be this is going to be Article 7, Article 7 or 8. No, this is going to be Article 8. Again, the same thing, and the warrant article will be inserted after that in the event that article is defeated. All right, so this is going to be Article 8, Capital Reserve Fund, Unanticipated Educational Expenses. Shall the Sanborn Regional School District vote to raise and appropriate up to $50,000 to be placed in the Capital Reserve Fund, Unanticipated Educational Expenses, established at the 2019 annual meeting. This sum to come from June 30 fund balance available for transfer on July 1, instead of returning the money to the community. No amount to be raised from taxation. This article is recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, also recommended by the Sanborn Regional School Board by a vote of 6-0. Estimated tax impact 0, Kingston, and 0 in Newton.
Comments, questions?
This capital reserve fund is used for educational costs that were not anticipated at the time the operating budget was created. Moving on.
Yep.
The Article 9 will be renumbered. Capital Reserve Fund, Capital Improvement and Maintenance. Shall the Sanborn Regional School District vote to raise and appropriate up to $50,000 to be placed in the Capital Improvement and Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund previously established? This sum to come from June 30 fund balance available for transfer on July 1 instead of returning the money to the community. No amount to be raised from taxation. This article is recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0. Also recommended by the Sanborn Regional School Board by a vote of 6-0. No estimated tax impact in either town. This capital reserve fund is used for facility and capital costs that were not anticipated at the time the operating budget was created.
Questions, comments? Baker?
Article 8.
We had to renumber these
Yeah.
again because
Right, but that's going to happen.
this will, I mean,
Oh, that's
Article
it.
8 will be the
You go
preceding
back to
article.
7, and
So 7's going to be the article that will approve a special meeting in the event that
then 5.
6 is, yeah, so.
Okay, this one, or 60, that one, the warrant, actual warrant 6.
You want me to go back?
Yeah. I think you've got a format issue there in terms of the font size.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is a GIF that was given to her by somebody else, so she has no control of that at this time. So she'll have to work on that for the deliberative. Mr. Ambrose.
We can fix that. We can help with that. But just remember that on the warrant, it's all, the actual warrant is the same font and everything. These are just the slides. And if there is a one that's a little bigger than another and we'd like bigger font for the presentation, we can certainly take care of that tomorrow. That's not a problem.
Yes.
Anyone else? Cheryl?
On the collective bargaining agreement for the administrator, I was just wondering why the second year was such a larger increase. Like second year is almost double the first, and then
Health insurance.
Tom Ambrose has the answer for
Go to
that.
the next slide. There you go.
Tom, go ahead.
You got it right there on that slide. The administrators agreed to take a lower increase. Remember, the administrators do not get steps. Teachers get steps within their contract. So a 1.5 or 2% raise for teachers is different for different teachers depending on how many years of experience they have. Administrators only get the flat percentage. So the board negotiated with the administrators a 1.5% increase for year one and then 2.75 for the other years. But the administrators are a part of the Teamsters union. So they also negotiated a cap on the percent increase in their health insurance. So the health insurance cannot go up by more than 4% in year one and 6% in the other years, which is a real bonus for the district. Remember, those amounts that are on there are estimated amounts based on the current employees, their salaries, and the current insurance rates. They are an estimate, but the administrators really wanted to be team players with the community and recognize that right now during the period of COVID, they felt that 1.5% was very fair and they were grateful for that.
okay. Also, just curious, the school board votes 6-0.
I can answer that too. One board member was not present at the meetings, so they don't get counted. And we did check with legal counsel to make sure that we were counting that correctly. They weren't opposed, they just weren't present.
So we didn't lose a school board member.
No.
Okay, oh, thank you.
All done? You done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. That ends Tammy Mahoney's presentation. So now we're on to public comment. Well, that was for the specific warrant articles, but okay. Okay, committee comments.
I'd like to make a motion that we affirm our vote of, in support of these articles.
You want to vote on them again?
just want to affirm it so that we, no, I don't need to vote individually, but I just want to make a blanket motion that we affirm the vote that we'd previously taken. I don't feel that we've heard anything here in input tonight that would cause us to want to revisit what the budget amount is.
Correct. There was
We're recommending.
nothing.
So I'll second it.
Okay. So just a verbal communication that,
Do we need to say who first and seconded that?
yeah, so,
Oh,
Judy?
Yeah, Annie Collier.
Rick Edelman.
Rick Edelman.
okay. So would you like to start off, Annie?
Sure, I'll vote aye.
Lauren?
Laura Basha, aye.
Jim McCarthy, aye.
Tammy Mahoney, aye.
Christine? Vanessa?
Vanessa, aye.
Rick?
Rick, aye.
And Mary.
Mary?
Aye.
Okay, so unanimous vote to reaffirm everybody that we support the warrant articles that have been presented tonight and the budget. Okay,
Tom's got a
Tom.
question.
I just wanted to say thank you to the budget committee
Oh,
for
yeah.
voting in. Can you hear me okay?
Nope.
Little
Lean in.
soft.
How's that?
There you go.
Thank you for voting in support of the administrators and teachers contracts, everyone. It meant a lot. I got a lot of positive feedback from staff. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. They're welcome.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a
Annie.
meeting, are we meeting next Thursday? Is that still?
Um,
Second. Vanessa, second.
Vanessa second.
Yeah.
All right.